Hey there, Shalini Mittal here from Tech Gatha, and in this video, let us understand the syntax of functions and what are the various ways that you can create functions, give input and expect the output. So let's get started. In the last video, we covered about the importance of functions. So let's see, if you remember from the past video, we know that we can create functions by using a keyword def followed by the function name followed by round brackets followed by colon, and then after that giving a space or indentation in the next line, we write the statements that become a part of this function implementation. Now there are 4 ways that you can create functions. So let's see all the 4 ways. The first one is a function that takes no input and gives no output. Okay, so you can consider them as banners or static content, right, which doesn't changes, which neither takes any input nor gives any output. Just if you call it again and again, it goes and prints the same output. A function that takes no input and no output, say for example you want to display some text or you want to display some information. So def is a keyword, function name is display followed by round brackets followed by colon. The moment you press enter, it automatically indents. Now whatever you write inside this is a part of the function. So maybe I can say welcome guest. Now if I write print over here, let's see what happens. Let me save it. And if I run the program, you would see, let's see what happens, gets printed, but hey there and welcome guest is not printed because these two statements create a block of code that is part of display. So we have a function display, and if we want these two statements to get executed, we have to call the function with the function name display followed by open and closed round brackets. So you can see now I have a function which gets called and it prints hey there and welcome guest. I can definitely call this again and again. So if I am calling it thrice, it prints the same thing 3 times. This is one way that you can create functions. Another is I can have functions that take input and gives no output. No output in the sense, it doesn't mean no output means you would argue that I'm printing, so it's giving me some output, right? Hold on to that. When I say gives no output means I can say it is not returning anything to the calling function. Who is the calling function? I'm calling the function over here. So it is not returning anything back. That is what you mean when I say gives no output or doesn't returns anything. We will be seeing that the next one. Now, function that takes input. Suppose I have a def function. It wants to calculate, say, addition of 2 numbers. So it will require input. That is what? 2 numbers. So say a comma b followed by colon. So always remember, when you want to give input to a function, you give it in the round bracket and you will have those many number of variables depending on how many input it requires. I want to add 2 numbers, it requires 2 input. I want to add 3 numbers, it requires 3 inputs, so on and so forth. So input are always passed as parameters, or you can also call them as arguments to a function within round brackets. Now because a and b are the parameters to the function, I can easily say print a plus b. And now to call the function add, the function name is add. It takes 2 parameters. So because it's a function, open and close round bracket. If I just do this and if I run, okay, see, it gives me an error because it says missing 2 required positional arguments A and B. You want to pass the values, you can pass the values. There are 2 parameters, so you will be passing 2 values. Now when I run it, you would see it gives me 1 plus 5, that is 6. In case you want to take the input from the user, so you can say A1 int input, enter a number. I can again say A2 input, enter a number, and I can call add, passing in the values in the 2 variables. So A1 and A2 are the 2 variables which are getting input from the user, and that input I want to pass to the add function. I can even replace the 1 and 5 constants with the variables. This way my program becomes flexible in the sense I can calculate add based on the values provided by the user. Enter a number 3, enter a number 8. So you can see 8 plus 3, 11. If I run it again, now again if I give different values, you can see it gives me 23 plus 46. So a function that takes input and does something with those input values. The other one is I can have a function that takes no input but gives output, that means returns some value. Now if I want to do this, say for example I have a function that basically returns a message. So I'll say message takes no input, fine. That means there will be nothing in the parameters. It returns something when a function gives output or returns something. Return keyword is mandatory. And say for example, it returns a message saying welcome here. Okay. Or maybe I can have a logic which basically gets the time, the current time, and based on the current time it can display a message, say good morning or good afternoon. So let's do that. So I want to get, so I can say import time, and I can say now is equals to time dot strf string format, and I want to get whether it's AM or PM. And then I can say if now is equal to PM, then return good evening, else return good morning. I mean, I know we have good afternoon as well, but that you can take care. Now that's it. So this is a message which basically returns a message, good morning or good evening. So let's see. So I'll call the message function. So let me run this program. So when I run, okay, I enter a number, that is for the previous program, and here you would see it doesn't print anything, neither good evening, neither good morning. The reason is my function is returning something. It's as good as if I am giving you something, you have to hold it in a container, and in programming languages containers are nothing but variables, right? So whatever the message function returns, I have to store it in a variable, and then if I print that, now see what happens. It takes an input as a number, and then you would see, because in my case currently it's 12:06 PM, you would see it is PM and it returns a message good evening. I will have to run the same program in the morning time to show you that it returns good morning, but that I leave it to you all to try it out. Fine. So this is the third way where I can say a function takes no input. It doesn't require, because it is just returning a message based on the current time available. Now the last one is a function that takes input as well as it gives output. So for example, I have a function, okay, which has to greet. Now the greet is specific to the current user logged in or current user accessing my website or my application. So I want to take the name of the user, that is the input, and I want to return a message saying welcome and the name of the user. So that will give a very nice feel to the user, because when I welcome the user, I'm welcoming the user by the name, right? So it always feels good. So let's do that. Now we all know that if a function returns a value, we store in a variable and then use that variable. So again over here, I can say is equals to the function name is what? Greet, and instead of passing a fixed value, let's take the input from the user. So I can say name equals to input, enter your name, right? And I can say greet, passing in the value. So remember, this name variable scope is in the function as declared as an argument. This name is different. They don't overwrite each other. They are totally in different scopes. It's as good as there's a Shalini here at TechGatha, and there is one more Shalini, say somewhere else, right? So same name, but they are different locations. Same way, this name is within this function, this name is outside the function. So they are separate variables. And then I can print whatever the greet function returns. So let's run and enter a number. I say enter the name Shalini. You can see it prints welcome Shalini. Alternatively, because the function returns something which the print can print, I can alternatively use the function directly in the print. So I'm passing in the name. I don't need this. I can say print whatever the greet returns. What greet returns? Welcome, and whatever name I pass over here. So see, if I run it again, sorry, it has to be a number. And now the name, you can see it returns welcome name. Also remember, there is a keyword called as none. So if a method returns nothing, right? So for example, our display method. So see, if I put here print and display, if I do this, let me delete this from here and let me put this here. Now see, does display returns anything? No. What will the print print? What is display returning for print to print? Let's check. See, it's none. So in Python, if a function returns nothing, it returns a special keyword with the name as capital N-O-N-E. It is a keyword. Remember that. Fine. So that's all with respect to functions in Python and the various ways that you can create. In the next video, we will see more programs using functions for you all to have more clarity and grasp on functions. Till then, happy learning, take care, and bye-bye.